We're going to move on to the Washington football team versus the New York Giants. Jeff, what do you got for us here?
Mute.
Well, man, I got to take the loss on this one because I was touting Daniel Jones all offseason, and my goodness. I honestly think it's more Jason Garrett's play calling, lack of imagination. But I saw a note. Well, one, Daniel Jones has 0 touchdowns since week 1, I believe. Nice, Matilda. I believe he's fumbled every single game except for week 1. And New York Giants are averaging 4.8 yards per play. And now their wide receiver 1, Darius Slayton, has a foot injury. So I don't even know who to invest in the Giants offense. I don't think I want to at all, unless it's a really good matchup for a healthy Darius Slayton. On Washington's side, so Kyle Allen is cleared. He's medically cleared. Ron Rivera already said he's starting. I love that for Terry McLaurin. This is a fantastic matchup for Terry McLaurin. One thing to watch for on Washington's side is Antonio Gibson did pop up on the injury report with a toe injury. Probably I would say 100% of the toe injuries that have popped up have been turf toe. So that's something I'm looking for. I don't know if it is turf toe, but that's what's typically been popping up. I like J.D. McKissick's upside here. What do you guys think?
Yes, Matt, I'm going to have a hard time being professional if you're going to wave your hair around like that a lot, but keep doing it, please. That's what people are here for. So a couple things. The first thing I want to say is awesome to see Alex Smith on the field last week. It was really great to see him out there. It was also maybe the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching football. I love the fact that he was out there, but every time he took a snap, I was cringing and just hoping, Aaron Donald didn't flatten him. And maybe that's not even realistic, but it was, it just was, I don't know, it was kind of uncomfortable watching him play. Did anybody else feel that while they were watching it?
When Donald jumped on his back, I went right to the edge of my seat on that one. But honestly, he had 2 great escapes from a collapsing pocket. And he looked pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was busy checking myself out in the mirror here. I'm assuming we're talking about the great Alex Smith. And coming back from that horrific injury, the infection, the surgery, then another surgery, and the other surgery, and the pins and everything that goes on. If you have seen the pictures of that injury, whether he even got on the field or not, he is your comeback player of the year. I don't care who you are. What he's done is nothing short of a miracle to get himself back in the position that he's got himself into. And the amount of effort and just everything that he's put into it right now, I personally say I don't think I would have been able to do it. I don't think I could have dedicated myself. I probably would have rolled over after the surgery and said, you know what, I'm done. That's it. No more. I'm hoping right now, I don't know if Kyle Allen's starting. I don't know if Alex Smith is starting. I want to see what's best for Alex Smith going forward. If it means him starting and leading this team, I think Haskins, his days in Washington are done. I would like to see Haskins end up in Pittsburgh as the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. I think that would be a fantastic fit. But as far as Alex Smith goes, it's already a fantastic story. I want to see it continue. I want to see him go out there. I want to see him have success. Not just be the Washington quarterback, but maybe get a couple wins along the way. And when you're talking about wins, this is a winnable game. The Giants aren't that good. The Giants are every bit as bad as Washington, except Washington has one thing that keeps them in these games. It's that front four, that Kerrigan, that Chase Young, that Jonathan Allen, that Duron Payne, Ioannidis. It's those guys that if they're in there playing and they're rotating through, they're as good of a front as any that you'll see in the National Football League. And that alone is going to give guys like Daniel Jones fits all day long. That's going to almost negate anything Devontae Freeman can do. So I don't think Alex Smith is going to have a huge game if he plays. I don't think Kyle Allen's going to have a huge game if he plays. I think you're looking at 225 yards passing, probably 75% of that to Terry McLaurin. But I do think Washington gets their win this week against the Giants.
Yeah, I think, so in the last game we talked about immovable object versus irresistible force with the Browns running game and the Steelers run defense. I think you have kind of the opposite here with New York's passing game and Washington's pass defense, because Washington pass defense has allowed 2 touchdowns every single week at least to opposing quarterbacks. And as Jeff mentioned, you've got Daniel Jones, who has 2 touchdowns on the season and none in the last, is it 4 weeks or 3 weeks? I can't remember how many games that they've played, but yeah, it's not been good for him. So what is going to give there? Is Daniel Jones going to actually be able to have a good game and put up some stats? I think it's 100% what you're saying, Jeff. I mentioned it last week. Jason Garrett has not called plays in the NFL since 2012, at least officially. I mean, maybe he had some role in it, but was not the play caller since 2012. And I think it shows. I think, you're right. It doesn't look like he's got the creative offense. It doesn't even look like an NFL offense a lot of times. And maybe he comes around. Maybe he's able to learn. But no doubt about it, this New York Giants passing offense is worse than it was last year. Everything about him is worse than it was last year. Statistically, the Giants have actually been pretty good against the pass, but I'm not convinced based on who they've played. I think I expect it to be Kyle Allen starting. I do expect him to have a good game. I expect Terry McLaurin to also have a good game. And Antonio Gibson, this is a really cool thing for him. So it's not very often we see this, but he is getting a chance to sort of learn the position on the job. I mean, he really wasn't very much of a running back coming into out of his college career, gets drafted there, is able to play running back, and is kind of getting an opportunity to just learn it as he goes. Like there are going to be games like last week where the production's not there, but the volume's there. I mean, he's getting the workload. He is getting the type of touches that you expect from a bell cow 3-down running back. And I don't know if that ultimately means that he's going to be a fantasy superstar for us this year. I mean, opportunity is king, so he's the kind of guy, maybe an RB2. But that could be really interesting to see how that plays out for next season and who he could ultimately turn out to be as this team kind of gets some more things figured out.
Yeah, I have to admit, Antonio Gibson looks a lot better than I thought he would as a true running back. And Scott Turner is using him really well.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if they can get themselves a few more offensive pieces there, I think Gibson's value will go up. I'm just a little bit concerned right now. The other pieces around. Yeah, they got Terry McLaurin. They got Gibson there. He's more effective in the pass game right now than he is in the run game, but they're trailing in a lot of games, right? So he's going to see a little bit more action in the pass game. I'd like to see that volume in the run game pick up a little bit more before I get too excited about Gibson. I loved him coming into the draft. I loved everything about him. I thought he was a fantastic fit there. So we'll see if that continues, see if he continues that upward trajectory. So yeah, I use big words today.
One other note I had here too is on the Giants side, they lost their top edge rusher and run defender in Lorenzo Carter. Ruptured Achilles.
Yeah, Lorenzo Carter's been a little disappointing for me since he's come in. He's flashed at times, but right now, like opposite of the Washington Football Club, there is no pass rush for the Giants. So losing Carter is huge because they had no rush to begin with. Now they have even less of nothing. Is it possible to have less than nothing? Because that's what the Giants have right now, less than nothing.